If you used a school or library computer in the early 2000s, you probably remember Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing. By the time version 8 came out in 2001, it looked way more modern than the clunky versions that came before it. And that intro, it ported me to this 3D world.
Welcome to typing class. I'm your teacher, Mavis Beacon.
I remember sitting there thinking, imagine if these were all people that I could hang out with and chat with. Obviously, games like that would come later on, and I'll definitely be exploring those. But at the time, this was amazing.
Click the computer in the center of your screen to start your lesson.
You'd load up and get into this cool virtual classroom. You had a computer in the middle that baselines your typing and your words per minute. And apparently, I'm a beginner-level typer.
The test shows you're a beginning typist. There are lots of ways to improve your skill.
But hopefully I can fix that by revisiting this game. You had lessons on the left and games on the right. But if you're like me, you go straight to the games. But before we get into the games, here's a fun fact. Mavis Beacon wasn't even real. She was actually a model hired in the 80s, but by the 2000s, she became the most famous typing teacher in the world. And Mavis Beacon Teaches Typing 8 was a huge refresh. It was built for Windows 98, 2000, and XP, and it ended up in schools, libraries, and probably your family's basement computer. But these minigames, they were legendary.
Here you can practice different skills while playing a game. Click on a game and get ready to have some fun.
I loved stepping into this little kiosk room. It felt a little special to me at the time. You had games that focus on speed, accuracy, using the number keys. So I decided to play them all through once again to relive the magic. You had Penguin Crossing, where you had to type every word in the icebergs to help the penguin jump from iceberg to iceberg to get to the finish. You had Shark Attack, where you had to type the letters as fast as you can before the shark attacked you. And when I beat it, I got the sunken treasure at the bottom of the ocean. You had this Chameleon game where accuracy was key. If you messed up, you didn't get the point. You had Checkout Time that taught you how to use the number keys. And I don't have a number keypad on my keyboard, so this one was a little interesting for me. I was using the top numbers across the top row of the keyboard. Still managed to get a decent word per minute, I think. And my favorite one of all time was this game Road Race. You typed as fast as you could to race to the end of the level, and it felt kind of cool. I was big into Mario Kart and racing games at the time, so when I was at school, this gave me a little bit of that magic, I guess. And at the end, you got this really cool jet animation that flew by when you won. You also had Space Junk, where you type common letter patterns to blow up the asteroids. And this game Ragtime, where you followed a metronome and typed to the music. And again, this arcade hall was so amazing. I still remember this being the magic of this game. But you also had the lessons, and in the lessons, you had a ton of information. It's kind of funny to see these days, these old school videos talking about poor posture or common injuries that you get when using a computer.
Cumulative trauma disorders usually occur as a result of activities that accumulate damage to the body. These activities typically involve some sort of motion or angle that's stressful, such as continually repeating a particular movement or holding your body at an unnatural position for long periods of time. Typists and computer users are among those susceptible to cumulative trauma.
It's funny to look back to see how new typing and computer usage was at this time. And I'll be honest, as I was going through some of the baselining, my word per minute was terrible. And it's definitely improved over the years, but I'm going to blame input lag here. So this wasn't totally my fault, so that's my excuse and I'm sticking to it.
The test shows you're a beginning typist.
But I'm really curious, does anyone out there have a really high words per minute? Do you still know? Drop it in the comments because I want to know who has the high score. And looking back, it's kind of wild. A fake 3D teacher, a bunch of typing drills, some mini games that you could play with friends. These weren't real games, but they stuck with us. And Mavis Beacon 8 proves that you don't need to be this AAA crazy game for a game to stick with you. What I also find interesting now is that typing and using the mouse is pretty second nature because we're using computers, devices, and phones at such an early age. But back then, there was a huge barrier to use a computer, and this game helped. And again, this was made to be an educational tool. But for a whole generation, these simple typing drills and simple games created some of the most unforgettable memories of computer labs at the time. And if you ever fired up Mavis Beacon 8 back in the day, you probably had a hidden save just like I did. This is Hidden Saves, a channel about unlocking old memories and figuring out why some games just stuck with us. If this one unlocks something for you, feel free to hit subscribe or drop a comment. Let me know what forgotten game I should dig up next. Catch you in the next one.